There are moments, rare, undeniable moments, when life pauses just long enough for something greater to break through. This is one of those moments, and you feel it, don't you? That subtle pull, that quiet urgency, that unexplainable feeling that you were meant to stop here, to listen, to not scroll away. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is not just another message blending into the noise of your day. This is a divine interruption. You watch as you hesitate for a second, just a second longer than usual. And in that pause, something shifts. Something ancient. Something sacred. Something that has been waiting for your attention finally finds you. Because the truth is, you were not searching for this message was searching for you. Archangel Michael stands at the edge of this moment, his presence steady, unwavering, filled with authority. Not loud, not chaotic, but precise, intentional. He does not interrupt without reason. He does not call without purpose. And right now, he is watching you read these words, knowing that time itself has aligned to bring you here, because something is about to happen and you needed to be warned before it unfolds. Think about your life recently. The delays that didn't make sense. The moments where things almost worked out, but didn't. The doors that seemed ready to open, only to remain closed. The strange feeling that something was off, even when everything looked normal on the outside. That wasn't bad luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was positioning. You have been standing on the edge of something bigger than you realize. And deep down, you felt it. A quiet whisper telling you something is coming. That restless energy that wouldn't let you settle. That inner voice that kept saying, "Wait, not yet." You tried to ignore it. You tried to move on. But it kept returning, didn't it? Because heaven does not whisper without intention. There is a reason your spirit has felt different. A reason your thoughts have been shifting. A reason you've started questioning things you once accepted so easily. You are not the same person you were weeks ago. Something has been changing inside of you. Subtly, quietly, but powerfully. And now, that change is about to meet its moment. May 23rd is not just a date. It is a marker. A line drawn in the unseen. A moment that has been written long before you ever realized it would matter. And now that moment is approaching fast. Archangel Michael does not come with panic, but he does come with urgency. Because timing matters. And what happens next in your life will depend on what you do with this moment right here. You were meant to hear this before something shifts. Before something opens. Before something is revealed. And here is the truth you cannot ignore. Not everyone receives a warning before their life changes. Not everyone is given a moment to prepare. But you were chosen to be alerted. So ask yourself honestly, why now? Why this message? Why at this exact moment in your life? Because something is already in motion. Something you cannot yet see but you are about to feel. And your angel made sure you wouldn't miss this. Type "I am ready" in the comments if you feel this moment is meant for you. Blessing code 2323 is now activated around your life. There are dates that pass like ordinary shadows across the calendar, and then there are dates that carry weight. Dates that hold something unseen, something pre-written, something assigned. May 23rd is not just another day in your timeline. It is not a random square on a page. It is a spiritual intersection. One where heaven and your life are about to meet in a way that cannot be reversed once it begins. He reveals that long before you marked your own plans, long before you counted your own days, this date was already circled in the unseen. It was not chosen because of convenience. It was not placed by accident. It was appointed. And the reason you are being shown this now is because heaven does not act without preparation. When a moment carries this level of significance, those who are meant to receive it are always warned beforehand. You may have lived through many days that felt repetitive, predictable, even stagnant. Days where nothing seemed to move, nothing seemed to change. But what you could not see was that while your outer world appeared still, something was being aligned behind the scenes. Pieces were shifting. Timing was being arranged. People, opportunities, and outcomes were being positioned to converge at one precise point. That point is May 23rd. There is a reason your spirit has felt unsettled, a reason you have sensed anticipation without explanation. Because your inner self recognizes what your conscious mind is only beginning to understand. Something about this state carries energy that does not belong to routine life. It carries divine orchestration. It carries movement. It carries consequence. Archangel Michael stands as a witness to this moment, not merely observing, but guarding the alignment that has been set in motion. He does not move for ordinary days. He does not intervene for moments that hold no weight. But when a date carries destiny within it, he is present. And right now, he is ensuring that what has been written for you is not missed, not delayed, and not overlooked. This is why the message carries urgency. Because timing is not flexible in moments like this. Some doors open quietly and remain available for a long time, but others open only for a moment. And if that moment is not recognized, it passes. Not out of punishment, not out of cruelty, but because divine timing operates with precision. And May 23rd is one of those precise moments. You must understand something deeper. This is not just about receiving something external. This is about a shift within you as well. Because when heaven aligns a moment, it does not only change circumstances, it changes awareness. It changes perception. It changes the way you see what is happening around you. And that internal shift is what allows the external miracle to take form. You have been prepared for this, even if you did not realize it. Every delay, every confusion, every unanswered question has played a role in bringing you to this exact point. Nothing hath been wasted. Nothing has been random. Even the moments you doubted were part of the alignment, because they shaped your readiness for what is about to arrive. And now, as this date approaches, the atmosphere around you begins to change. You may notice subtle differences, a heightened awareness, a sense that things are moving, even if you cannot yet see how. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is the beginning of alignment becoming visible. But here is the truth that cannot be ignored. Recognition is everything. Because a moment like this does not announce itself loudly. It does not force itself upon you. It reveals itself through awareness, through attention, through your willingness to stay present and receptive. That is why you were called here before it happens. That is why you were not allowed to pass this message without hearing it. Because your awareness now will determine your position when that moment arrives. May 23rd is not coming to test you. It is coming to meet you. To meet the version of you that has been shaped, prepared, and brought to this exact point in time. And when it arrives, you will understand why everything had to unfold the way it did. Type "I accept the timing" in the comments if you feel the alignment approaching. Blessing code 523 is now surrounding your path. There are calls in life that can be postponed, delayed, or even ignored without consequence, and then there are calls that arrive with weight, with authority, with a sense of urgency that cannot be mistaken. This is one of those calls. And he is not whispering now. He is standing firm, watching, ensuring that you do not turn away from what is being placed directly in front of you. Because what is happening in this moment is not casual. It is not actual. It is a divine summons. He sees the pattern you have lived through, the times you felt prompted to act, yet hesitated, the moments where you sensed something important, yet allowed doubt to quiet your response. You told yourself you would return to it later, that you would think about it more, that you would wait for a clearer sign. But clarity does not always arrive with repetition. Sometimes it arrives once, and that single moment determines everything that follows. This is why the angel will not allow you to skip this, because he knows what is attached to your attention right now. He knows what is waiting on the other side of your awareness, and he understands something you are only beginning to realize. Delay is not neutral in moments like this. Delay can shift outcomes. Delay can alter timing. Delay can move you out of alignment with what was meant to meet you. There is something forming, something moving toward you with precision. It is not random. It is not uncertain. It has direction. It has intention. And it has your name connected to it. But the connection is not automatic. It requires your presence. It requires your awareness. It requires your willingness to recognize what is happening before it fully arrives. He is not calling you out of fear. He is calling you out of protection. Because when something significant is about to enter your life, there are always forces that attempt to distract, to delay, to divert your focus. That is why you have felt more scattered lately. That is why your attention has been pulled in different directions. That is why you have almost missed this moment entirely. But he intervened. You may not even realize how close you came to overlooking this. How easily this could have been just another passing message. But something stopped you. Something held your attention just long enough for you to stay. That was not your own doing. That was intervention. That was guidance ensuring that you remained in position long enough to receive what you were meant to hear. Because here is the truth that must be understood. Not every opportunity announces itself with clarity. Not every turning point feels dramatic in the moment it begins. Some of the most powerful shifts in life start quietly, almost unnoticed, except by those who are paying attention. And right now, you are being asked to pay attention in a way you have not before. The angel's urgency is not about pressure. It is about precision. Because what is unfolding does not wait indefinitely. It moves according to timing that has already been set. And when that timing arrives, those who are aware step into alignment, while those who are distracted remain where they are. He is watching to see what you will do with this awareness. Whether you will take this moment seriously or allow it to fade into the background like so many others before it. Because your response matters more than you think. Your attention right now is not passive. It is active participation in what is about to unfold. You may feel a subtle tension within you as you read this. A sense that something is asking more of you than usual. That is not discomfort. It is activation. It is the recognition that this moment carries significance beyond what is visible on the surface. He is not asking you to understand everything yet. He is not asking you to see the full picture. He is asking you to remain present, to stay aware, to not turn away from what you have already been guided toward. Because once this moment passes, it will not return in the same form. And deep within you, you already know this is not something you were meant to ignore. Type "I will not ignore this call" in the comments if you choose to stay aligned. Blessing code 333 is now activated over your awareness. As this call settles into your spirit, understand this. Every time this message reaches someone who is on the edge of missing their moment, a light is lit in a place that was once dim. When you choose to sow into this mission through Super Thanks with a PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a voice. You are becoming a vessel that carries awakening into another soul's life. The word declares, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days," and this is that moment being spoken directly over you. I feel led to say this plainly. I am stepping into alignment by helping this message reach who needs it. What you release today becomes a seed that opens doors not only for others, but for your own path as well. Heaven sees the giver as a partner in purpose, and every act of generosity becomes a ripple of divine movement across lives you may never meet. Do not hesitate in this moment. Step forward, act in faith, and release what has been placed on your heart. There is always a reason why something meant for you does not arrive when you expect it. It is rarely as simple as bad timing or unfortunate circumstance. What you have experienced, the delays, the near misses, the almost breakthroughs that slipped just out of reach, they were not empty moments. They were evidence of something deeper, something unseen, something that had been unfolding behind the surface of your life. He reveals that what you have been walking through was not just waiting, it was resistance. Not always loud, not always obvious, but present. Subtle enough to make you question yourself, quiet enough to make you doubt your own instincts, yet persistent enough to keep you from stepping fully into what was prepared for you. This is the hidden battle that many never recognize, because it does not always look like opposition. Sometimes it looks like confusion. Sometimes it feels like exhaustion. Sometimes it appears as distractions that slowly pull you away from clarity. You have felt it, even if you could not name it. That strange weight that settled over your decisions. The way simple choices began to feel complicated. The way your focus would drift at the exact moment you needed it most. The way opportunities seemed close, yet never fully aligned. That was not coincidence. That was interference designed to delay, not destroy, but delay long enough for you to lose momentum. And this is where many misunderstand their journey. They assume that because something is delayed, it is no longer meant for them. They step back. They withdraw. They begin to lower their expectations, convincing themselves that perhaps they asked for too much or hoped too deeply. But he stands to correct that assumption now. Because what is meant for you does not disappear, it waits. And sometimes it waits until the interference surrounding you begins to weaken. There has been a process unfolding, one that required you to be stretched in ways you did not anticipate. You were being refined, but not only you. The conditions around you were being adjusted. Situations that could have blocked your progress later were being dismantled quietly. Influences that would have complicated your path were being removed before they could fully attach themselves to your outcome. This is why things felt slow. This is why nothing seemed to move forward at the pace you expected. You were not being denied. You were being protected. Because if what is coming had arrived earlier, it would have collided with circumstances that were not ready to support it. It would have been exposed to environments that could not sustain it. And instead of becoming what it was meant to be, it would have struggled to survive. So the delay was not punishment. It was positioning. Yet even within this protection, the hidden battle continued. There were moments when doubt tried to take root. Moments when your own thoughts began to question whether anything significant was truly ahead. Moments when the silence felt too long, the waiting too uncertain. This is how delay attempts to reshape belief. Not by removing what is meant for you, but by convincing you that it will never come. But something has shifted now. The resistance that once surrounded your path is no longer as strong as it was. The distractions that once pulled your focus are beginning to lose their hold. The confusion that clouded your clarity is starting to lift. You may not see the full picture yet, but you can feel the difference. There is a subtle sense that things are beginning to align, even if you cannot yet explain how. This is the turning point, because every hidden battle has an end. Every period of resistance reaches a moment where it can no longer sustain itself. And when that moment arrives, what was delayed begins to move, not slowly, not uncertainly, but with direction and force. That is where you are now. You are no longer in the phase of resistance. You are entering the phase of release. And what has been held back is preparing to come forward with a clarity you have not experienced before. But you must understand this clearly. The awareness you carry now determines how you step into what is being released. Because the same distractions that once delayed you may attempt to return, not with the same strength, but with enough subtlety to test your focus one last time. This is why you were called to attention earlier. This is why the urgency was placed before you. Because as the hidden battle fades, your awareness must rise. You cannot step into alignment while remaining unaware of what once delayed you. You are being shown this not to dwell on what has passed, but to recognize what has shifted. The delay is ending. The interference is weakening. The path is clearing. And what once felt distant is now closer than it has ever been. Type ISE the shift in the comments if you recognize this change. Lesson code 444 is now activated over your path. There comes a moment in every divine timeline when everything that once felt so suddenly accelerates. Not gradually, not predictably, but abruptly, like a switch hath been flipped in the unseen. This is the moment he is revealing to you now. Because what has been building quietly behind the scenes is no longer content to remain hidden. The shift has already begun, and what you are about to experience will not feel like the past. He observes the transition carefully, knowing that sudden change can feel unfamiliar, even overwhelming, when you have grown used to waiting. For so long, your life has moved at a pace that required patience, endurance, and trust without visible proof. You adapted to that rhythm. You learned to survive in it. But what happens when that rhythm changes? What happens when things begin to move faster than you expected? This is where many become unprepared, not because they lack ability, but because they have grown comfortable with delay. They expect more waiting. They anticipate more obstacles. They assume that progress will continue to come slowly, if at all. But the moment of shift does not ask for permission. It arrives when alignment is complete, and that alignment is now. There is movement in the unseen that is no longer subtle. Paths that once seemed blocked are beginning to open, not halfway, not uncertainly, but clearly. Conversations that were once delayed are about to happen. Opportunities that felt distant are drawing closer with precision. And situations that once caused confusion are about to reveal their true purpose all at once. This is why the message carried urgency from the beginning. Because when sudden change arrives, it does not wait for you to adjust. It does not slow down to match your expectations. It moves forward, and you must be ready to move with it. He shows that what is coming will not resemble what you have been through. It will feel different. Decisions will need to be made more quickly. Responses will matter more immediately. Your awareness will need to stay sharp, because what is presented to you will require recognition in real time. You will begin to notice signs of this shift before it fully unfolds. Subtle at first, but undeniable. A sense that things are lining up without resistance. Moments where something falls into place without effort. Encounters that feel purposeful rather than random. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations that the shift is active. But here is what must be understood. Sudden change does not mean chaotic change. It is not disorder, it is acceleration. It is everything that was held back now being released at once, moving according to the timing that has finally been reached. You may wonder why it has to happen this way. Why not gradually? Why not slowly, in a way that feels easier to process? Because what has been delayed for so long carries momentum. And when it is finally released, that momentum must be expressed. This is why you are being prepared mentally and spiritually before it happens fully. Because if you enter a moment like this unprepared, you risk hesitation. And hesitation in moments of acceleration can create missed opportunities, not because they were not meant for you, but because they required immediate recognition. He is guiding you now to adjust your expectation, to no longer look at your life through the lens of delay, but through the awareness of movement. To stop assuming that things will take time and begin recognizing that time has already been invested behind the scenes. What you are about to step into is not the beginning of something new. It is the release of something that has already been built, already been prepared, already been aligned. That is why it will feel sudden. Because from your perspective, it appears to come out of nowhere. But from the perspective of the unseen, it had been forming for a long time. Stay aware. Stay present. Stay ready. Because when the shift fully reveals itself, it will not ask if you are prepared. It will simply arrive. And when it does, everything you once questioned will begin to make sense all at once. Type "I am ready" for the shift in the comments if you feel the acceleration beginning. Lesson code 555 is now activated over your timeline. There is a point in every journey where pressure reaches its peak. A place where it feels like you cannot stretch any further, cannot carry any more, cannot make sense of why things had to unfold the way they did. That point was not the end. It was the breaking point. And what you thought was breaking you was actually breaking something around you. He has watched you walk through moments that tested your patience, your belief, your sense of direction. Moments where you questioned not just the situation, but yourself. You wondered if you had missed something, if you had taken a wrong turn, if you had misunderstood the path entirely. Because when pressure builds without visible progress, it creates doubt. And doubt, if left unchecked, can reshape how you see everything. But now, he reveals the truth behind that pressure. It was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to separate you. There were attachments, ways of thinking, expectations, even certain connections that could not move forward with you into what is being prepared. But they would not release easily. They were familiar. They were comfortable in ways that made them difficult to recognize as limitations. So the pressure came, not to harm you, but to make those attachments unsustainable. That is why certain things began to feel heavier over time. What once felt normal started to feel draining. What once made sense started to feel confusing. What once seemed acceptable started to feel misaligned. This was not random discomfort. This was exposure. This was a process of revealing what could no longer remain if you were to step into what was ahead. And yet, in the middle of that process, it did not feel purposeful. It felt overwhelming. It felt like too much happening at once, without clear direction. Because breaking points rarely feel like preparation in the moment. They feel like endings. But endings are not always losses. Sometimes they are releases. He shows that what you experienced was the dismantling of resistance from within as much as from around you. Because even when external conditions begin to align, internal patterns can still hold you back. Old fears, old doubts, old ways of interpreting situations. These do not disappear automatically. They must be confronted. And often, the only way they are confronted is through pressure. That pressure forced you to see what you had been tolerating. It forced you to recognize where you had been holding yourself back, even without realizing it. It forced you to step outside of what felt safe and begin questioning what was actually true for you. This is why the breaking point was necessary. Because without it, you might have remained in a version of your life that felt stable, but was not aligned. You might have continued moving in directions that seemed reasonable, but were not leading you where you were meant to go. You might have accepted limitations as reality, rather than recognizing them as temporary conditions. The breaking point disrupted that. It created a moment where continuing as before was no longer possible, where staying the same felt more uncomfortable than changing, where you were pushed to reconsider everything, not because you wanted to, but because you had to. And that is where transformation begins. He reveals that what broke was not your strength, it was the illusion that you needed to stay where you were. What broke was the belief that things had to remain as they were. What broke was the attachment to outcomes that no longer fit your path. And now, as that breaking point passes, something new takes its place. Clarity. Not all at once, not in a single moment, but gradually becoming stronger. You begin to see things differently. You begin to understand why certain experiences had to happen. You begin to recognize that what felt like loss was actually redirection. This is the turning of pressure into purpose. Because once something breaks, it cannot return to its previous form. It can only rebuild in a new way. And that rebuilding is happening now, even if you are only beginning to notice it. The struggles were not interruptions. They were part of the process that made this moment possible. Without them, you would not be ready to recognize what is coming. Without them, you might overlook the significance of what is about to change. Without them, you might step into the next phase without the awareness needed to sustain it. But now, you are different. Stronger, not because things were easy, but because they were not. Clearer, not because everything was explained, but because you were forced to see beyond what was obvious. And ready, not because you feel completely certain, but because you have moved through what once felt impossible. The breaking point has passed, and what remains is the beginning of something new. Type "I have been prepared" in the comments if you recognize the purpose in your struggles. Lesson code 666 is now activated over your transformation. There comes a moment when everything that was hidden begins to surface. Not partially, not vaguely, but with a clarity that changes how you see your entire journey. This is that moment, and he stands as a witness to it, knowing that what is about to be revealed will answer questions you have carried for longer than you realize. For so long, you have been moving forward without full understanding. You made decisions without knowing where they would lead. You endured situations without knowing why they were necessary. You felt pulled in certain directions without having clear confirmation of where those paths would take you. It felt uncertain, sometimes even disorienting. But now, the reason behind that uncertainty is being uncovered. Because what heaven was preparing for you could not be revealed too early. If you had seen it before, you might have tried to control it. You might have rushed it. You might have doubted its scale or questioned whether it was truly meant for you. So it remained hidden, not from you but for you. Protected until the moment you were ready to receive it without resistance. He shows that what has been prepared is not small. It is not something that fits within the limits you once placed on your life. It is something that requires a different version of you, the version that has been shaped through everything you have experienced up to this point. This is why the process felt long. Because preparation is not only about what is coming, It is about who is receiving it. There were aspects of your thinking that needed to expand. There were beliefs that needed to shift. There were patterns that needed to break. And all of that had to happen before the reveal could take place. Because what is coming cannot be sustained by the same mindset that existed before the process began. Now, as the timing aligns, the reveal begins. It will not necessarily come as one single moment where everything is instantly understood. Instead, it will unfold in layers. Pieces of clarity will begin to connect. Situations that once felt unrelated will start to make sense together. You will begin to see how certain events were leading you toward something specific, even if you did not recognize it at the time. This is the moment where confusion turns into understanding. He reveals that what is coming into your life carries purpose beyond immediate gain. It is not just about what you receive, it is about what it enables. It opens a path that was previously unavailable. It creates opportunities that were not accessible before. It positions you in a way that changes how you move forward from this point on. This is why it had to be prepared carefully, because anything that carries this level of impact cannot be introduced randomly. It must be aligned with timing, with readiness, with awareness. And now, all three are beginning to meet. You may begin to notice this reveal through subtle shifts at first. A realization that something you once overlooked is actually significant. A moment where you understand why a certain delay happened. A sudden clarity about a direction you were unsure of before. These are not small insights. They are pieces of a larger picture coming together. And as they come together, your perspective will change. You will no longer look at your past the same way. What once felt like obstacles will begin to look like steps. What once seemed like setbacks will begin to look like positioning. What once caused frustration will begin to make sense as preparation. This is the power of revelation. It does not change what happened, but it changes how you understand it. And once your understanding shifts, your direction shifts with it. He is guiding you now to remain open during this process. Because the reveal requires your attention. It requires your willingness to see things differently than you have before. If you hold on too tightly to old interpretations, you may miss the new meaning that is being presented. Let the understanding come. Let the connections form. Let the clarity rise without resistance. Because what is being revealed is not just information, it is direction. And once you see it clearly, you will not be able to return to the uncertainty you once carried. You will know. And that knowing will guide every step you take from this point forward. Type I receive the revelation in the comments if you are ready to see clearly. Blessing code 777 is now activated over your vision. There are moments in life that feel open, and then there are moments that are open for a reason. A window is not just space, it is access. And access, when tied to timing, becomes something far more powerful than opportunity. It becomes destiny in motion. This is the moment he is showing you now. Because what is opening for you is not indefinite. It is precise, is intentional, and it is already beginning to move. He watches as this window forms, not suddenly, but as the result of everything that has already taken place. The delays, the preparation, the breaking point, the reveal, all of it has led to this exact opening. And now that it is here, it carries a weight that cannot be ignored. Because windows like this do not remain open forever. They exist within a specific moment, and once that moment passes, the path shifts. This is why timing matters more than effort right now. You may have spent so much of your journey trying to push forward, trying to make things happen through persistence alone. You learned to rely on effort, to keep moving even when results were unclear. And that effort was not wasted, It was part of your preparation. But this moment requires something different. It requires awareness more than force, alignment more than struggle. Because when a window opens at the right time, you do not need to push it open. You need to recognize that it is already open. He reveals that many miss moments like this not because they are unworthy, but because they are distracted. They are looking for something complicated, something dramatic, something unmistakably loud. But windows of destiny often appear quietly. They do not demand attention, they require it. And those who are not fully present can overlook them, even while standing directly in front of them. This is why you were called to stillness earlier. This is why your awareness has been sharpened. Because recognizing this moment requires clarity. It requires you to see beyond habit, beyond assumption, beyond the expectation that things will continue as they have before. They will not. This moment is different. You may begin to notice that things are aligning in ways that feel almost effortless. Conversations happening at the right time. Information reaching you exactly when needed. Situations resolving without the resistance you have grown used to. These are not coincidences. They are indicators that the window is open. But here is what must be understood clearly. Alignment does not remove choice. Even when everything is positioned perfectly, you still must step forward. You still must respond. You still must recognize that what is being presented is not random, but intentional. This is where timing becomes personal. Because the window exists, but your movement within it determines the outcome. If you hesitate too long, if you question what you already feel, if you allow doubt to override awareness, you risk stepping out of alignment with what has already been set for you. He is not saying this to create fear. He is revealing it to create clarity. Because this moment is not about pressure. It is about presence. You do not need to rush blindly. You do not need to act without thought. But you do need to stay aware. You need to trust what you recognize. You need to respond when the moment calls, not when it feels convenient. The window is not asking you to be perfect. It is asking you to be present. And presence means seeing what is in front of you without overcomplicating it. It means trusting that what has been prepared does not need to be forced into place. It simply needs to be accepted. He shows that once you step into this window, movement will follow naturally. Things will begin to unfold in ways that confirm your alignment. You will not need constant reassurance, because the progression itself will provide clarity. But that progression begins with recognition. This is the moment where everything you have been prepared for meets everything that has been prepared for you. Do not look past it. Do not assume it will come again in the same way, because it will not. This window is specific to now, and you are standing right at its edge. Type "I step into my moment" in the comments if you are ready to move with this timing. Blessing code 888 is now activated over your alignment. As this window of destiny opens, understand this truth deeply. Every seed you release becomes a doorway for someone else to find their moment before it passes them by. When you support this mission through Super Thanks or the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding content. You are helping heaven place light into the exact second someone needs it most. The word declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." And this is not distant scripture. It is a living voice speaking over your obedience right now. I feel this strongly. I am stepping into alignment by helping this message reach another soul before their window closes. Your act becomes a prophetic movement, a ripple that opens doors not only for others, but for your own destiny as well. Heaven records every seed, and every seed returns multiplied in ways you cannot predict. Do not delay this moment. Act with intention. Step forward and release what has been placed in your spirit. There is always a moment when awareness alone is no longer enough. A moment when what you have seen, what you have felt, what you have understood must now become action. This is that moment. And he stands watching closely, not with judgment, but with expectation. Because everything that has been revealed to you up to now has been leading to this single question: what will you do with it? Obedience is not always loud. It is not always dramatic. It is often quiet, internal, and immediate. It is the decision to respond without delay when something within you already knows the direction to take. And this is where many hesitate, not because they do not understand, but because they begin to question what they already feel. You may notice it even now. That subtle resistance that appears the moment action is required. Thoughts that ask, what if this is not the right time? Or what if I misunderstand? Or what if I wait just a little longer? This is the final layer of delay, not external, but internal. And it is often the most powerful because it feels like caution, when in reality, it is hesitation. He reveals that this moment is not asking you for perfection. It is asking you for trust, because everything has already been aligned for you to move forward. The window has opened. The shift has begun. The reveal has taken place. What remains now is your response. And your response determines whether you step fully into alignment or remain at the edge of it. You are not being asked to take a reckless step. You are being asked to take a clear one. There is something specific you already feel called to do. It may not be fully defined in words, but you recognize it. A decision you have been postponing. A direction you have been considering but not acting on. A step you know is necessary, yet have delayed for reasons that no longer feel strong enough to hold you back. That is where obedience begins. It is not about doing everything at once. It is about doing the next right thing without delay. Because when alignment is active, even a single step forward creates momentum. And that momentum begins to carry you into the next phase without the same level of effort you once needed. He is showing you that this is not a time for overthinking. Overthinking belongs to moments of uncertainty. But this is not uncertainty. This is recognition. You are not guessing what to do. You are acknowledging what you already know. And the longer you delay, the more you create unnecessary distance between yourself and what has already been prepared for you. This is why obedience is immediate. Not rushed, not forced, but not postponed. Because every moment you remain in awareness without action is a moment where alignment waits. And alignment does not wait forever. It moves when you move. You may feel the weight of this realization now. Not as pressure, but as clarity. A sense that something within you is being called forward. That staying where you are is no longer an option, not because you are being pushed, but because you have outgrown the place you are standing in. This is the threshold. And thresholds are not meant to be observing. They are meant to be crossed. He reminds you that you do not need to see the entire path to take the first step. You do not need full certainty to begin. You only need enough clarity to move. Because once you move, the next part reveals itself. And then the next. And then the next. This is how alignment unfolds, not all at once, but step by step, each action confirming the one before it. But none of it begins without that first response. You are closer than you think, closer than you have ever been. And the only thing separating you from what has already been set in motion is your willingness to act on what you know right now. Do not wait for another sign. Do not wait for a clear moment. This is the moment. He is not asking if you are ready. He is showing you that you already are. type "I take the step now" in the comments if you are choosing action. Lesson code 999 is now activated over your movement. There is a moment when everything that has been held back begins to move forward with unmistakable clarity. A moment when what once felt distant suddenly becomes present, when what once felt uncertain begins to take shape in ways you can no longer deny. This is the moment of release, and he stands watching as it begins to unfold in your life, knowing that what is coming next will not resemble what you have known before. Favor is not random. It is not luck. It is alignment meeting opportunity at the exact point where readiness hath been reached. And now, that point has been reached for you. What was once delayed is no longer waiting. What was once forming is now stepping into visibility. And what was once hidden is preparing to manifest in ways that will feel undeniable. You may begin to notice the shift not as one overwhelming event, but as a series of confirmations. Things beginning to work in your favor without the same level of resistance. Situations resolving more smoothly than before. Doors opening where there were once obstacles. This is how favor begins to reveal itself, not always loudly, but consistently. And as it continues and builds, he reveals that what is being released into your life is not limited to one area. It is not a single opportunity or a single outcome. It is a flow, a movement that touches multiple parts of your life at once. Because when favor is aligned, it does not isolate itself, it expands. You may find that things you struggled to achieve before now come with less effort. Not because you have suddenly become different overnight, but because the conditions around you have changed. The resistance that once slowed you has been removed. The alignment that once felt distant is now active. This is why it may feel surprising at first, because you have grown used to things taking time, to things requiring effort, to things needing persistence before results appear. But now, the rhythm is changing, and with the change comes a new experience, one where movement happens more naturally, more fluidly, more directly. He shows that this transformation is not only external, it is internal as well. Your confidence will begin to shift, not in an exaggerated way, but in a steady, grounded sense of knowing. You will begin to trust your decisions more. You will begin to recognize opportunities more quickly. You will begin to move with a clarity that was not present before. This is the internal effect of favor. Because when alignment is active, it sharpens your awareness. It strengthens your ability to see what matters. It reduces the noise that once made decisions feel complicated. And as that clarity increases, your actions become more precise. This is how transformation accelerates. What once took long periods of uncertainty now moves forward with direction. What once required constant questioning now feels clear. What once felt out of reach now begins to come within your grasp. But there is something important you must understand about this moment. Favor does not replace responsibility. It does not remove your role in the process. It enhances it. It amplifies what you do. It makes your actions more effective. But you still must act. You still must respond. You still must remain aware of what is being presented to you. Because favor creates opportunity, but recognition creates results. He is guiding you now to remain grounded as this shift unfolds. Not to become overwhelmed by the speed of change, not to question it simply because it feels different, but to accept it. To allow yourself to move with it rather than resist it. This is your new rhythm. A rhythm where things begin to align more easily. Where progress becomes visible. Where effort meets outcome without the same level of delay you once experienced. And as this continues, you will begin to see the full extent of what has been prepared for you. It will not feel like coincidence. It will feel intentional. Because it is. Everything that is being released now has been building toward this moment. Every delay, every shift, every lesson has contributed to this point. And now, the results of that process are beginning to appear. This is the release. And once it begins, it does not return to where it was. It moves forward. And you move with it. Type "I receive the favor" in the comments if you are ready to step into this flow. Blessing code 1010 is now activated over your life. There are moments in life where awareness becomes responsibility. Moments where once you have seen, once you have understood, once you have felt the truth of something, you can no longer return to the comfort of not knowing. This is one of those moments. And he does not speak now to create fear, but to establish clarity. Because clarity requires you to understand not only what happens when you move forward, but also what happens if you do not. Ignoring a moment like this does not cause everything to disappear. It does not erase what hath been prepared for you, but it does shift your position in relation to it. And that shift is where many lose what was once within reach. He reveals that when a window of alignment opens, it is connected to timing that cannot be replicated in the same way again. It is not that another opportunity will never come, but it will not come under the same conditions, with the same level of preparation, or with the same ease of access. What is available now is specific to now. This is why ignoring the call carries consequence, not as punishment, but as misalignment. You may think that waiting a little longer will make things clearer, that stepping back will give you more certainty, that delaying your response will somehow improve the outcome. But in moments like this, delay does not create clarity. It creates distance. And distance makes recognition harder over time, not easier. He shows that when someone ignores a moment of alignment, life does not stop. It continues. But it continues along a different path. A path where the same level of ease is not present, where the same opportunities take longer to appear, where the same outcomes require more effort to achieve. This is not because anything hath been taken from you. It is because you move out of position with what was already set. You may have experienced this before without fully recognizing it. Moments where you felt you should have acted, but didn't. Moments where you sensed something important, but allowed it to pass. And later, you realized that things became more complicated than they needed to be. That is the effect of mistiming. It does not destroy your path, but it alters it. And this is why the warning is being given now, before that happens again. He is not asking you to carry pressure. He is asking you to carry awareness, because awareness allows you to recognize the difference between hesitation and wisdom, between waiting for clarity and avoiding action. Right now, you are not lacking clarity. You are being given confirmation. The difference matters, because when confirmation is ignored, it slowly fades into doubt, not because it was unclear, but because it was not acted upon. And once doubt takes hold, it becomes easier to justify an action, to convince yourself that the moment was not as important as it seemed. But deep down, you will always know. There is a part of you that recognizes this moment for what it is. A part of you that understands that something significant is being presented. A part of you that knows this is not something to treat casually. And that is the part you must listen to now. Because ignoring that inner recognition is how alignment is lost, not all at once, but gradually. One delay leading to another, one hesitation creating the next, until the moment that once felt clear becomes distant. He does not want that for you. That is why this message has been placed before you with such precision. Not to overwhelm you, but to ensure that you do not miss what has already been prepared. You are not being forced. You are being invited. But invitations of this kind do not remain open indefinitely. They require a response, and that response must come from awareness, not hesitation. Because what is at stake is not just a moment, it is the direction that follows it. He is watching, not to judge your decision, but to witness your awareness becoming action. Because once you act, alignment strengthens. And once alignment strengthens, the path becomes clear in ways you cannot yet fully see. You not allow this moment to pass as something ordinary. It is not. And the choice you make now will determine how the next phase of your life begins. Type "I will not miss this moment" in the comments if you choose alignment. Blessing code 1111 is now activated over your decision. This is the moment everything has been leading to. Not another preparation. Not another delay. Not another sign to wait. This is the activation. And he stands firmly in this moment, no longer revealing, no longer warning, but calling you forward into what has already been set in motion for you. You have felt the build-up. You have moved through the prayer. You have witnessed the shift, the reveal, the opening. And now, there is nothing left to interpret, nothing left to question. What remains is movement. What remains is your step into what has already been aligned. Because a miracle does not arrive fully formed into a passive life. It meets you at the point of activation. It meets you where awareness turns into decision, where understanding turns into movement. And right now, that meeting point is directly in front of you. He shows that everything you have experienced up to this moment has been a form of positioning. Even the uncertainty had purpose. Even the waiting had direction. Even the moments that felt unclear were guiding you toward this exact second, this exact opportunity to step into alignment fully. And now, there is no more separation between preparation and reality. This is where it becomes real. You may feel a shift within you even now. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, but steady. A sense that something has settled into place. That something within you has moved from questioning into knowing. This is the activation beginning. Because activation is not external first, it is internal. It is the moment you stop resisting what you already recognize. The moment you stop delaying what you already know. The moment you stop standing at the edge and finally step forward. And as you step, everything begins to respond. He reveals that the miracle waiting for you is not separate from your movement. It is connected to it. It unfolds as you move. It reveals itself as you act. It expands as you remain aligned. This is why you could not receive it earlier, because earlier, the movement was not yet complete. But now, it is. You are not stepping into something uncertain. You are stepping into something that has already been prepared, something that has already been aligned with your path, your timing, your readiness. This is why it feels different. There is no confusion here, no hesitation that needs to be justified, only a clear awareness that what is in front of you is real, and that your role is to step into it. He is not asking you to be fearless. He is asking you to be willing. Because willingness is what unlocks movement. Willingness is what allows alignment to become reality. Willingness is what transforms awareness into experience. And this is where your life begins to change in a way that cannot be reversed. Not because everything becomes perfect, but because everything becomes aligned. You will begin to see results where there were none. You will begin to experience clarity where there was confusion. You will begin to move forward without the same resistance that once held you back. This is the effect of activation. It does not change your path, it reveals it. And once revealed, you cannot return to where you were. This is why this moment matters. Because this is not just another step. This is the step that shifts everything that follows. He is with you in this moment, not to guide you further, but to witness your decision. Because the guidance has already been given. The awareness has already been established. The opportunity has already been placed before you. Now, it is yours to step into. Do not look back. Do not hesitate. Do not reduce this moment to something ordinary, because it is not. This is where your miracle begins. Type "I step into my miracle" in the comments if you are choosing this moment fully. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your destiny. As you step into this activation, understand this sacred truth. Every act of giving becomes a spark that ignites someone else's miracle at the exact moment they were about to miss it. When you release your seed through Super Thanks with a PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are extending heaven's reach into another soul's destiny. The living word declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over." And this promise is breathing over you right now. I feel this deeply, and I say it as a step of faith. I am becoming a vessel to help others receive their moment. What you sow in this moment returns as alignment, as open doors, as divine acceleration in your own life. Heaven marks every giver as a partner in purpose, and your obedience releases blessings that multiply beyond what you can see. Do not wait. Act now. Step into this divine exchange and release what has been placed on your heart.